Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A, and this is going to be my first garden tour of 2025. So at the beginning of the week, I planted out all of my summer crops, my peppers, my tomatoes. I haven't gotten to things like beans and okra, but they are definitely coming. So I figured, since I have got the garden pretty much planted out, besides a few minor things here or there, that I take you for a quick garden tour so you can see how things look from when I planted them out, because I have a video up that you can go and check out. I will definitely link that. And then how, 4 or 5 days later, they look now that they've been in ground for a couple of days. My brain always wants to start going this direction first, so that's what we are going to do. We have a whole bunch of potatoes starting to sprout, which I am excited about. I didn't think I was going to even have potatoes this year because there were some interesting things going on with my order, but I am very thankful that I have potatoes. And here we have our spicy peppers, and it looks like the ahi isn't doing too well. We had some very aggressive wind yesterday, and you can kind of see the damage on all of the peppers. Things got whipped around pretty hard. So it might be that I have to give up the idea of some of these peppers, but I'm hoping that they grow out of some of the damage that happens. And then if I turn around, look over here, we have the sweet peppers. These guys fared a little better because it was a wind coming from the south, and these guys are northernmost, so they had the spicy peppers and the spicy pepper bed to protect them a little bit. So you can kind of see that they're in better shape. Then we have some of our dwarf tomatoes, which are looking really good, and an eggplant, which I think was just protected by these onions, which was good. We've got more onions. At some point on this trellis right here, I want to do some runner beans or some cucumbers. I haven't quite decided which of those I want to do yet, but that's what's going to happen right there. I kind of explained it in my planting video, how I trellis these, but I'll explain it here again. I have them tied up at the top of these hooks, and then at the bottom of these tomatoes, I have a landscape staple, and sometimes a second landscape staple, or a barbecue skewer that has a hook on the handle, since it'll go down a little bit further. And then I just tie it off to that, and I am trying these clips for the first time this year, so we'll see how that goes. And as you can see, these tomatoes got whipped around pretty good as well. I need to just go through and trim off all of the damaged stuff. We are probably going to get some more wind today. It's calm right now, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But that's pretty much what all of these square beds look like. Is we've got some tomatoes with usually calendula and nasturtium, a basil here or there, and then a row of onions, which the onions are looking really good. So that's exciting. The plan for back here is I need to get the water fountain set up, and then I'm going to scatter zinnia seeds. I do have a few zinnias started that I'll also plant in here, but this is going to be my zinnia bed. But next to that, I have a couple of pots. One of them is a jalapeno pepper, and then I got a couple of dahlias. I just wanted to see how they would do over here. I do have a third pot that I'm going to put over here that I need to fill with soil and then decide what I'm going to put in there. I'm not entirely sure just yet, but I do have another pot I need to figure out. Along this fence line, you can see a couple of kiwi, and I've got some, can't remember what kind of flowers starting to poke up right about here. But I need to decide if I want to keep growing there or not. I think I might just pull them, and of course a dandelion. These are all different kinds of kiwi, but this is the newest addition. I planted some sticks. So this is probably a Concord. I believe this is a Concord seedless grape. I have at least 2 of those that I've planted along this row right in through here. I have 6 grapes all along this fence. I've got 2 Concords, 2 Reliances, and I don't remember what the other one is. Oh no, that's the Concord. Marquise. Got 2 Marquise. That's what we're looking at right now. So I will, at some point, get this fence wired up for trellising. But fingers crossed that I get these sticks to actually sprout. Otherwise, I've just got sticks in the ground, which, as much as I love having sticks in the ground, it'd be nice if I actually got grapes and grape leaves off of said sticks. So any advice or tips you have for growing grapes, I would love to hear them. So once again, we've got the tomato plants. I kind of skipped over it, so I'll come back this way. In the higher level beds, I have some herbs. This side, I have some sage, some bee balm, and some thyme. And then I'm just gonna pan so you can see all of the tomato beds on this side. Like I said, they're all the same. Over here, I've got 2 different kinds of thyme and another bee balm. Have I been calling it bee balm? Lemon balm. They're both lemon balms. It's early in the morning, I'm sorry guys. Like I said, here is some more tomatoes. For as much trauma as these guys have been through, they are looking good. Between planting them out when it was really warm and then the wind we have had all day yesterday and we're gonna get today, I'm pretty happy with them. This bed is a combination of garlic and onions. The garlic didn't come up very well this year, so I interplanted it with onions. And this is my paste tomato bed, which is looking okay. I think this California tulip right here is probably looking the best. Right behind it, kind of leaning, is another California tulip. That was originally planted out as a speckled Roma. It did not make it, so I had to replace that plant, and that the plant I put in is looking kind of sad. All of those in the back kind of are. My tomatoes just got too big this year. I am going to try and avoid that for sure next year. Here we have more garlic. This is actually 2 different sowings of garlic. This taller stuff right here is part of the original planting that I did in the fall. Like I said, it was a little spotty coming up this year. The winter conditions, I guess, were not good for garlic. So then I did, about a month ago, I had some additional seed garlic that I threw into the ground. So it might not produce quite the same time or get as big, but better to have some garlic than no garlic, I guess. And then over here, I have a couple of eggplants, a dwarf tomato, and then all of my carrots and a little bit of bunching onions. But as you can tell, right there in the middle, I'm not getting a lot of germination on my carrots. Earlier this spring, I found an ant colony just living its best life in my carrot bed. And I think that is part of the reason why I'm not getting any carrots in that strip. But this is why you overplant, or at least that is why I overplant. I will still very much be happy with the carrots I do have coming up. And I'm wondering if I can just put a few more carrot seeds down to fill that in. But I don't know. We'll see. Back there, this is what I call my pollinator garden. It is a mix of hollyhocks, sweet williams, agastache, and a bucket load of milkweed. I have more milkweed than I really need. And I'm actually pulling it out of the yard at this point, but thinking of the butterflies. So this should be a pretty clump of color at some point this season. So I'll let you see how that starts to grow up. Over here, I have my first set of pots. I actually had to replace this pepper right here and the one in the back over there because the wind just snapped them in half yesterday. Like I said, the wind was very, very aggressive. And it looks like I've got some cleanup of these tomato plants as well that I need to do. I'll definitely do that later today. And of course, I got my gorgeous dill. This is elephant dill, and I'm not entirely sure which of the dills actually came back this year. It's definitely a different green color. But I do have a lot of dill. And then here, we've got some more tomatoes and a pepper plant. But if you come around over here, you can see one of my scented geraniums and a lemongrass, which is the exact same over here. I've actually got 2 different scented geraniums and a tomato plant and some lemongrass. The idea with the lemongrass and the scented geraniums is to try and keep the fire pit area a little more bug-free. Here we have the honeyberry bushes, which are actually producing quite a few berries this year. So I'm watching those ripen and getting really excited because I don't think I've ever seen this many berries on these bushes before. So I might get a lot of honeyberries this year which I am excited about. So the thing about honeyberries that I didn't realize at first is that you have to have 2 different species of honeyberries to get a lot of berries. I thought you just needed 2 honeyberry bushes, but you have to have different species so they can crosstalk and pollinate that way. I am not a botanist, so I don't fully understand why plants work the way they do sometimes, but that is what you have to do for honeyberries. You need 2 different varieties for fruit to actually be productive. So it's actually starting to sprinkle, which is interesting. I didn't think we were supposed to get rain today, so I might go through this a little faster than I intended. These pots are intended for the deck. They are a combination of basil, and then I've got some tomatoes. These are my leftover dwarfs that I put into railing pots. They probably won't do well, but I had the plants, so I figured I might as well use them. Over here are the tomatoes and peppers and eggplants that I didn't have space for. Some of them I am keeping for backup, just in case. As you see, I have replaced several plants already, and I only planted out the garden on Monday. So these things happen. I have the fountain next to it that I need to get into that back corner. This is the peach tree. The chives have started blossoming. And the strawberries are starting to fill in. It looks like we might get some fruit soon as well. And then over here, I've got 1 pepper, a couple of basils. Oh, we are getting dark. I'm gonna plant beans in this pot. The pine berries are taking over the ground. You can't even see where the beds are over here, which is fun. I'm doing a test with these tomato plants right here. I'm gonna see if I can grow them up the deck railing. Meanwhile, the beets are really starting to come in. I've been harvesting a lot of, that is lettuce right there, and then bok choy in the back. And we are starting to get pea blooms. So we should get some peas in just a little while. Oh, we actually have one. I have not seen this. Well, that's exciting. And I did do our first harvest of radishes yesterday, and they were excellent. And I think here in a week or so, I am going to harvest most of this cabbage, and I'm going to make some kimchi before the cabbage worms do too much damage to all of these leaves. That's my plan. Sometime next week is to make kimchi. The lettuce bed looks really, really good. Unfortunately, it has been so hot that all of it is very, very bitter. It is not the best tasting lettuce right now, so it is mostly going to the guinea pig at this point. And I'm not going to walk through it, but you can kind of see in the back here, that back pot right there is all cilantro and spinach. It is thriving. These 3 pots down here though, they don't drain very well, and I thought if I put it over there it wouldn't get hit by our irrigation quite as much, and so it wouldn't be getting as wet, but I don't think those plants are happy. So we're gonna pretend like that doesn't exist for a little while. I've also got this peach tree with strawberries and chives. And here you can see a peach fruit. starting to form. I think I've noticed 4 or 5 fruits, which is better than last year because everything just froze last year. And I'm gonna end with our blueberry plants, which I did just replace this blueberry plant right here. But these ones came back last year, and I have noticed some clusters. So I might, for the first time in 4 years, get blueberries. I'm looking forward to that. But that is how the garden is looking right now. And I am ready for the harvest. As I said, there are still a few things that I need to do in the garden. I still need to mulch a few places. I have some squash that I've sprouted that I need to probably in the next, I'll probably say 2 weeks. I need to find a space for in the garden. I need to plant out the beans, and then when it starts to get warmer, I'm gonna plant out the okra. But I have been doing pretty much daily harvests of the bok choy and the chive and the lettuce, and now I have started adding in the radishes, so that's super exciting. I'm gonna try and do these garden tours every week. That's what I usually like to do over the summer, just so I can see how the garden is growing. So if you'd like to join me on these garden tours and on my journey of seeing how the garden grows and changes, feel free to subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications. I do also have a Instagram and Threads account if you want to go and check me out over there as well. I like to take pictures of some of the newer things that I am harvesting because they excite me and they look pretty, so you can check me out over there as well. Otherwise, I am going to get inside before it starts raining. It wasn't supposed to rain today, but it really does look like it's gonna rain. I'll take it. We need the water. I do hope I will see you guys again in another video, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.